I stop. Ice what?
Whoa, baby, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we got a big one. This is the New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchups to watch, and I'm going to be honest here. This is a game that will not fully be covered until the preview and predictions video. It's not bringing justice to this matchup because I can only cover 3 matchups and matchups to watch. The 3 ones that are most influential in my opinion, and that's it. But there are so many moving parts in this game that matters. These are 2 powerhouses going against each other. It's a huge deal. The winner of this game could really run with the NFC South. It just depends on what happens during this game and after this game. Can the New Orleans Saints complete the season sweep against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Man, I don't know. But that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about Saints versus Buccaneers matchups to watch. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into this video. The first matchup we have to watch is one that is not going to be any less talked about now than it has been in years past, and that is, of course, Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore. This will literally never not be in a New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchups to watch video, and I'm sorry. I talk about this matchup so much because of how important and fun to watch it is. It's just way too good. Seriously, whether it be them battling to the point that they start fighting, or Marshawn swatting the ball away from Mike Evans, or Mike Evans catching a really contested ball over Marshawn Lattimore's head, there's always something to watch between these 2 players right here. Marshawn Lattimore hasn't been having an amazing season, and I'll be the first one to say that, but he has managed to clean up his act a little bit in the last 2 games. He has been targeted 36 times this season, which is a little bit less than half of the 77 targets he faced last season. QBs have been more comfortable throwing the ball at Marshawn Lattimore this year, and it has shown. He started like this last year, but it was cleaned up by the Dallas Cowboys game. He hasn't really 100% cleaned it up yet. He allowed a touchdown against the Chicago Bears last week, but that was really just a really good route run by Allen Robinson. I think that besides that, he had a very good game, had a couple of passes defended, and really held his own. If it wasn't for that one play, I'd be looking at that game completely different. On those 36 targets he has faced this season, he has allowed 26 receptions. He has been starting to show some fight, like I said, only allowing 2 catches for 15 yards against the Carolina Panthers, and having an interception against Chicago, where he could have had 2 interceptions versus Chicago, but he dropped the pass, and really, in all honesty, that was the better move to make as it gave the Saints better starting field position. Mike Evans, on the other hand, has been one of the best targets that Tom Brady has had to work with. Mike Evans has had 30 receptions for 373 yards and 7 touchdowns on the season already. He has had 2 touchdowns in his last 4 games as Brady continues to look to him as his #1 threat. Mike Evans in recent years has not fared well against Marshawn Lattimore. Well, since 2018, really. Mike Evans has 5 catches for 71 yards and 1 touchdown in his last full 3 games against the New Orleans Saints. And let me go ahead and give you the breakdown for this 5 catches for 71 yards and 1 touchdown stat line, because I promise you it's not as glamorous as it looks, especially speaking that it's 3 separate games. The first game that I'm talking about here, he had 0 receptions for 0 yards against the Saints in their first matchup in 2019 facing Marshawn Lattimore. He had 4 receptions for 69 yards and 0 touchdowns in his second matchup against the Saints, where again he faced Marshawn Lattimore. And earlier this season, week 1, he had 1 reception for 2 yards and 1 touchdown in week 1 of 2020, even though that catch was caught against Demario Davis. So when Marshawn Lattimore's right, he held him off the box score yet again. Marshawn Lattimore has done a great job of keeping Mike Evans in check since Mike Evans completely ass-blasted him in 2018. We really just have to see who comes to play for this matchup. Like I said, it will be a good one. It's always a good one. We just have to see who wins. Will they have a 50-50 matchup where Marshawn Lattimore gets a couple passes defended, but Mike Evans catches a couple balls for like 50 yards? We just have to see. Really interested to see how this one plays out. I think this is really big for who wins this matchup, Marshawn Lattimore or Mike Evans. Whoever wins this is going to have a really good chance at their team winning this football game. Let's go to the second matchup I have to watch, and that is You guessed it, probably. Alvin Kamara versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense. Let me go over Alvin Kamara's stats in 2020 for you guys. He has 87 rushes and for 431 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. But where he has seriously caused damage this year has been through his air game. It's crazy, but that's where it has been. He has 55 receptions for 556 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. He is the only player in the NFL with 1,000 combined scrimmage yards at this point of the season and looks to do some more damage this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 9. Kamara, though, has some pretty stiff competition to go up against this week. A top-rated Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense. The Buccaneers have had the best, period, run defense over this season, only allowing 70.4 rushing yards per game, which is absolutely insane. The second consecutive year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have led the league in run defense. They had an okay game versus the Giants last night, allowing 101 total rushing yards with an average of 4.2 yards per carry on the ground. Kamara has been the Saints' obvious bell cow back for the entirety of this year, so it really depends on how this Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense handles Alvin Kamara to see who wins this game. I'm very interested. Can Kamara show that he's the best running back in the league and do some damage against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense? He had a touchdown in Week 1, should have had 2 touchdowns, but it was taken away. It really is just a toss-up here, and I can't be more excited to see this matchup go through once again. Now, let's talk about the last matchup I have on this list, which is, I think, equally as important as the last 2 matchups, and man, this is a big one. Michael Thomas versus Carlton Davis. Like I said, this one is massive. The Saints, barring another stupid fucking setback, that Michael Thomas got caught smuggling cocaine across the Mexican border. If there's no stupid setback to keep him out of this game, we will be getting superstar wide receiver Michael Thomas back this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is huge in this matchup. Drew Brees has been dealing like he's been a great quarterback this year, having Emmanuel Sanders for a few games and not having him for a few games. Traquan Smith, Austin Carr, Marquez Callaway, who ended up getting injured after breaking out, and Tommy Lee Lewis. A lot of his wide receivers have been getting injured. It hasn't been the same wide receiver core for more than 2 games. It's been a revolving door of injuries. But Michael Thomas coming back is huge. It doesn't just give us Michael Thomas, but it also opens up the offense and creates opportunities for everyone else. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about Michael Thomas versus Carlton Davis. Michael Thomas versus Carlton Davis is a matchup that happened in Week 1 that was clearly won by Buccaneers cornerback Carlton Davis, and I'm not afraid to say that. Mike ran 18 routes against Carlton and was only targeted twice. Good for Mike, though. He caught both of those targets for 17 yards. He will be needed to be more involved in this matchup if the Saints want to win. I can only assume that Michael Thomas will come out swinging, get it, pun intended, after missing 6 weeks of football, but we can only see. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary as a whole did not look too great last night. I know the Giants only put up 23 points, but there were 4 or 5 blown coverages that I've seen that would have resulted in a touchdown if Daniel Jones was even a half-decent quarterback, and they were getting absolutely obliterated by slants last night, and you know what they say about Michael Thomas. The jealous people love to say he's the slant man, and you can't cover him against the Giants. Man, oh man, good luck doing it against the person who has coined it himself. So that's all I got for today in these matchups. Let me know down in the comment section below what your matchup to watch, your favorite matchup to watch in this game will be, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.
Zero gravity falling, and I might burst sleep. I stand jump like I'm jumping on a trampoline.